This is the best of the Tory Lowe Show on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Man, I mean, if you don't like what's going on, that's why you got to organize and write your local officials, because this is a the federal government order from the president's office. And this is what people voted for. And we got to head over to Minnesota. There's news coming out of Minnesota where they're saying that an ICE agent fatally shoots a woman in Minneapolis. They're saying that immigration enforcement agent fatally shot a 37-year-old woman in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as authorities surged into the city as part of what the federal government described as the largest immigration operation ever. It's a lot going on over there in Minnesota with the fraud, now this ICE situation. We got some video, if you're watching this, we broadcast live. We're going to give everybody an update on what's going on in Minnesota. Let's listen.
Well, we got confirmation now through DHS that this was a vehicle ramming situation. They say, in fact, while ICE officers and federal agents were conducting targeted operations, they had the usual scene with the crowds descending on them, and someone, they say, DHS says, weaponized her vehicle. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the lives of other agents, discharged his weapon and shot that individual, a woman who now, according to DHS, is in fact deceased. Now, I've got some of the statement from DHS saying that this is a direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assault.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll say this. Even in Milwaukee, the one thing I always tell y'all is leave them ICE agents alone. Don't get too close to them because it's a gray area. When you mess with federal agents, they got so much leeway. Y'all thought the police, the local police had a lot of leeway. No, I mean, we can do certain things against the police department if officers misbehave. But when you messing with a federal agent and you get close to them, or especially with this ICE situation, people are protesting. They may not like what's going on. Matter of fact, Judge Hannah Dugan she got found guilty recently for what she was doing up in the courthouse concerning agents. So I tell people, leave them agents. If you touch an agent or you come near an agent and something happens, you're not going to win it. You're not going to win it. And you may end up like this lady in Minnesota, because I don't know what happened. They're saying that she tried to drive her car into the agent. We don't know. We don't. I mean, I guess this is what they're reporting, but we got to go with what they're saying. But at the same time, what is she? I mean, what are you doing over there? I mean, if you're not a part of what's happening or involved, stay away from it. Because let's say you bump one of those federal agents, like you don't like what they're doing. You want to show them that, you know, you got high blood pressure. You want to show them what time it is. You just brush their shoulder, just bump up against. You could go to prison. You know, like you cannot touch these people or get involved with these people. Now we got video. What video we got, Andrew? What video you? Oh wow! All right. Well, we got another video of a little bit closer of what took place and the involvement with the ICE agent. If you're watching this, we broadcast live. I must warn you, maybe some of this footage may be disturbing, but I'm warning you because, you know, I don't want y'all to see something dramatic. This is my first time seeing it, so Andrew just pulled this up. Once again, ICE agent shoots a woman in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have video. I'm going to give y'all a couple seconds to tune in if y'all want to watch the live video. Once again, the woman is in the red car. They're saying, impeding the progress of the ICE agent. Let's roll the video. Okay. Well, the video is muted because there's a bunch of swearing in it. The woman is in the red car, and then she drives back And yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, she was there. I kind of could have been in protest, but the ICE agent was standing in front of the car, and you cannot get involved, no matter how you feel. You gotta step back. You gotta kind of have some calm about you. You don't have to agree with what they're doing, but you can't get close to these situations. You're not going to win. It's nothing going to happen to these ICE agents. Nothing. Zero. Because they're being commissioned to do something. And maybe you don't like what they're doing. Maybe you can kind of write your elected officials if that's the case. But this woman, she probably didn't think it was going to go that far. She probably thought she was going to give them a piece of their mind, give them a piece of her mind, and she was probably going to drive off or something, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. My condolences to the family, to her family, to everybody that was affected negatively from this situation. Man, I mean, if you don't like what's going on, that's why you got to organize and write your local officials, because this is a federal government order from the president's office. And this is what people voted for. And you may be on the losing side of the argument. Maybe your side didn't get the people in. Maybe y'all didn't get Tim Walz in. Maybe y'all didn't get Tim in. Maybe your side lost. But to the ones that's in office, that was a huge mandate. ICE agents getting some of these people out of here. We knew it was going to be nasty. We knew it was going to be a lot of things going on with this, but you don't have to end up in a bad situation. And I told the people that did with me, I told them to stand down. You're not going to win that. Stand down. Like, okay. Or I end up like this lady in Minnesota, because she could have got out that situation if she hadn't panicked. Or let's say she would have, well, let me leave, and waited till everybody got clear and drove off. That ain't what I seen in the video. I seen somebody that had high blood pressure, that probably wasn't thinking straight. She probably didn't intend to run nobody over. But when you're angry and you're moving around and you frantic, that's what it looked like to me, because I've been in many situations at protests where people had to, drive off, or I had to calm people down, and we were surrounded by law enforcement, and I had to talk them from having that high blood pressure moment where it could have caused more damage. So once again, we'll keep everybody updated on what's going on in Minnesota. There's a lot of things going on in Minnesota with the Somalians, with the fraud, with Tim Walz dropping out of the race for governor. Now we got this situation with the ICE agent. The media gonna have a frenzy. Minnesota about to take over the news cycle for like at least the next 3 days. Thomas in the chat says, many MAGA are done with this stuff. Yeah. I mean, I think nobody wants to see bloodshed. I think people want people to have a right to voice their opinion without dying. But you got to be careful, because I believe that if she was outside of the vehicle, she would have still been alive. I believe you can yell and scream and they'll give you a lot of leeway. But when she tried to drive off and started moving around, trying to get away or trying to move herself with the vehicle, it got chaotic. I seen this in real life, though. They didn't get shot, but I knew that I knew if I hadn't intervened on a couple situations when we was walking from Milwaukee to Washington, D.C., somebody would have got extremely nervous, and they could have read that as a chaotic moment, which could have caused something else to happen. So calmer heads got to prevail, no matter what side you're on. And I don't care who you are or who you voted for. don't nobody want to see nobody lose their life in these situations.
You know, I've been in politics a long time, but, so many of these folks that have come into politics in recent years, I have supported, I have mentored, I have, been with them as they run for other races. And so it's nice to see each other. Like every time, I see David Crowley, I make a beeline for him. I give him a hug because it's actually great to see him.
And we got guests. We got Kelda Royce, an American attorney, small business owner, and Democratic politician from Madison, Wisconsin. She is a member of the Wisconsin Senate, representing the Wisconsin 26th Senate District since 2021. She previously served 2 terms in the Wisconsin State Assembly from 2009 to 2013. She is a current candidate for the Democratic Party primary for governor of Wisconsin for the 2026 election. How you doing?
I'm so happy to be with you, Tory. Thank you.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. You in the race.
I'm in the race. I'm having a great time traveling this state.
Now, the governor is a lot, is a lot of responsibility throughout the state of Wisconsin. So I'm gonna try to walk through a lot of the concerns. But what made you decide to run? Why did you run this year?
Because we need somebody who can fight Donald Trump and this Republican regime, and when they're trying to hurt Wisconsinites, we need somebody who can win this election because we cannot afford to go backwards with a guy like Tom Tiffany. And we need someone who is prepared to govern on day one. And I have the most experience in the race in and around state government, making change for almost 25 years in every kind of legislative environment, not just as a legislator and a leader, but as an advocate, somebody who ran a statewide nonprofit, somebody who's a small business owner.
Well, you know what? It's a lot of Democratic candidates in this race.
There sure are,
Hey, it's packed.
All friends.
It's packed. What do y'all say to each other when y'all see each other? Most of the time it's cordial, but now that y'all running against each other, do y'all talk?
Yeah,
is it still
absolutely.
cool?
A lot of these folks, I've been in politics a long time, but, so many of these folks that have come into politics in recent years, I have supported, I have mentored, I have, been with them as they run for other races. And so it's nice to see each other. Like every time, I see David Crowley, I make a beeline for him. I give him a hug because it's actually great to see him.
That's what's up. Well,
yeah.
Wisconsin families are facing higher costs in groceries, housing, and everyday necessities. As governor, how can you ease those costs for the citizens in Wisconsin?
Well, I would say 2 ways. Number one, people got to earn more money because it's hard to bring prices down. But if you have more money in your pocket, then you are better able to afford your life. And we can do that by raising the minimum wage dramatically. $7.25 an hour is not livable for anyone anywhere. And restoring workers' rights like collective bargaining, the ability to join a union. That's really important. But we can also bring down prices on the bigger ticket items like healthcare, like housing, like childcare. And I've got detailed plans for how to do all 3. Expanding access to housing, building more, reforming our zoning, making better use of the dollars we already spend on housing. On healthcare, I want to open up the state employee plan that I enjoy as a state senator to anybody. Let anybody buy into the state plan. It's a low-cost, high-quality plan, and it would save a lot of people money.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Hundreds of thousands of Wisconsinites are at risk for losing health coverage and paying more for insurance. That's a huge issue, and I think you touched on it. But how can we get some state safeguards up?
Yeah, this is critical because not only are people going to lose their health insurance, but we have providers all over the state, hospitals and clinics, especially in rural areas, but also urban communities like Milwaukee, that are going to close when people lose insurance because they aren't going to be able to pay the bills. And so it's not just the loss of insurance for individuals, it's the loss of access to care for whole communities. The best way that we can expand access to health care today that's affordable is by having a true, robust public option, letting everybody buy in. Now, listen, I'm a single-payer person. I think it's crazy that we ration healthcare in this country based on your job or your ability to pay instead of the fact that you're a human being and you need to go to the doctor sometimes. But we've worked for 15 years to expand Medicaid. The federal budget, the recently passed Big Ugly Bill, has essentially taken that off the table for us because it's going to cost us $500 million to implement. For that amount of money, we could dramatically expand access to the good state healthcare plan that I enjoy that should be open to anybody to buy in. And it's low cost, high quality insurance, and it would be your option as a small business owner, as an individual, as a big company. If you don't like those double digit increases you're getting from your for profit insurance, buy into the state plan. It's your choice.
There was a recent situation where Governor Evers, they wanted to look into the SNAP benefits. Where are they going? I mean, with what's going on in Minnesota, with Tim Walz recently dropping out of the governor's race due to the fraud that's going on in Minnesota, how can you fight against that? I mean, public trust is important.
Yes, it is.
And when you talk about misuse of funds, fraud, a lot of people, want to look into where the SNAP benefits is going because they trying to find out a lot of fraud. The federal government is trying to look into Wisconsin and try to see what they can find with the SNAP benefits. How do you feel about the federal government looking into SNAP benefits and fraud or possibly fraud in Wisconsin?
I want to be absolutely clear. Anybody who steals money from the taxpayers, from us, the public, deserves to be prosecuted and put in prison. That is outrageous. When you violate the public trust in that way, you have harmed every single American, and it's unacceptable. But when I think about corruption, I look at the highest levels. I see a president who has stacked his cabinet with billionaires, and he is weaponizing our own federal government to make himself and his family and his friends richer. They have not just change the tax code to benefit themselves, make private jets tax deductible, give themselves sweetheart deals. But he's actually used the government to enrich his own family's business holdings, right? And to me, that is absolutely outrageous. And I want to see corruption at any level stopped. But I don't think we turn a blind eye to the corruption at the top just because, there might be some waste or fraud or abuse by the little guys.
Well, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of people depend on those resources.
They sure do.
So
and
I wouldn't marginalize it.
And the truth is that people who receive benefits like that, earned benefits, the fraud rate is very, very low. Usually when people are talking about fraud, what they mean is somebody made a mistake.
Misuse of funds.
Complicated forms. No, like they made a typo, or they picked up an extra shift that week, and then they reported it, and then they were disqualified from getting health care because they were over the income limit, right? They were too rich, making $11,000 a year or something, right? And so I think we got to be really careful when we talk about trying to take away people's benefits, like their food or their health care that they rely on, low-income people. And we should be very aggressive in prosecuting corruption and fraud, especially at the scale that we're seeing by the Trump regime.
Now, where's your stance on immigration right now in the state of Wisconsin? A lot of the farmers said that they needed a lot of the immigration ideas to help them farm their land because most regular people do not want to do those jobs. But now you have a mandate from the government to kind of get involved, and that's what you see in Minnesota right now with the woman eventually, losing her life to trying to stand against or kind of confronting or being involved in the situation. But where do you stand on this right here in the state of Wisconsin?
Listen, Wisconsin's top 3 industries are manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism. Every one of those industries is heavily dependent on immigrant labor, right? Different kinds of labor in different parts of the state. But the reality is we don't have enough people here in the state to run our economy without immigrants. Now, I don't want to have laws on the books that we can't enforce. We can have safe communities and secure borders, and we should, but that is not what Donald Trump is doing. What he is doing is empowering an untrained, lawless, violent force into American communities. They are kidnapping and disappearing people. They are violating all of our rights.
Are these American citizens or
Some
migrants?
of them are American citizens. Many of them are people with legal permission to be here. They're spouses of U.S. citizens, green card holders, permanent residents. And they're taking them without due process. They're disappearing them. And then, of course, yesterday we saw a woman, an American citizen, a mother of a 6-year-old boy who now will grow up an orphan because they shot his mother dead. That was murder. Let's be very, very clear. She posed no threat to those ICE agents. She was there as a legal observer. She was there, like so many of us, protesting the illegal and unconstitutional actions of ICE. something that she has every right to do as an American, and they shot her as she was trying to leave.
I agree. Her intentions, from my opinion, wasn't to hurt anybody. But I think that as a person that have dealt with protests, and I said this earlier in the show, just stay out the way with these federal agents because it's a gray area.
It's very dangerous. It's not legally is not a gray area.
As an attorney,
dangerous.
When you walk and approach a situation as a person that have mitigated or told people to back up because I don't want what I saw on that video to happen. These are things that we have to try to train ourselves to not get as close or not to get involved. To me, as a person that had to tell somebody, hey, look, relax. First of all, relax, because I know I see that you're starting to get hyperactive. Relax, calm down, and react calmly in these type situations. I think she was just trying to get herself out of the way because they were approaching her. And I've seen that happen before. And, and I just say that was a tough situation for somebody to be in as far as like the woman, because she came out that day to do something, but you also got to know how to respond when things happen.
Well, listen, it's a very dangerous situation when you have untrained vigilante forces that have been given permission by the president to act in lawless ways without any accountability to us as taxpayers. They are coming into our communities. They don't have adequate training. They're not like our local police forces. And, even with our local police forces, you have to have accountability, right? They are there to help keep us safe. And that doesn't always happen, right? And I say this as the daughter of a law enforcement officer, somebody who spent his career in law enforcement as a prosecutor and as a law enforcement officer. We need public safety, but we also need to understand that when you pick up that badge and you put on a gun, you take on a responsibility, and you don't get to just shoot first and ask questions later. Absolutely
Well, I
not.
deal with it all the time. Like I said, Terry Williams down at the lakefront was shot by a sheriff deputy who wasn't charged with a crime. And so, like I said, you just have to be cautious. And I always tell people that when I'm out, don't even go near them.
Yeah.
You don't have
it's
to get close.
It's a scary situation because, they're in many of these situations, there is not accountability for police officers who discharge their weapons and hurt or kill people. And nobody wants to be in that situation.
Well, maybe you can get some justice reform in here. Get some laws. Get some laws in the state of Wisconsin. Some better ideas when it comes to when these type of situations take place. So
what we're doing is not working right now.
Well, look, when we come back, I want to ask you some more questions. I got some more questions for you. Also, I want to know specifically things about Milwaukee because we need a lot of assistance from the state. Hey, look, we got a lot of different things that I want to talk about. I was just looking at this question about farming. So when we get back, we'll have more conversation. Truth Nation, stay locked in.
Tory Lowe. I see you working, putting in them hours. You on your grizzy, I see you grinding, man. You should be getting paid by the minute. You don't stop working.
101.7 The Truth. Tory Lowe Show. We got guest Gelda Royce. She's running for governor in the 2026 election. Look, Milwaukee got a lot of issues. I want to get to this Milwaukee. I want to get to the city because usually Milwaukee kind of pushes a lot of the political candidates into office due to the fact that it's a liberal township,
Yes.
Democratic township.
Milwaukee is very important to the state, both politically and economically.
Right. And many times when we talk about those votes, we always say, well, what do we get out of these votes? Milwaukee education, when it comes to education, when it comes to things that we depend on the state, we got a lot of taxes. We got taxed this year. We got extra taxes that took place on the property taxes. NPS referendum added more taxes. It just seems like the people in Milwaukee are just continuing to be taxed. What are some of the things that you have in mind to help the city of Milwaukee?
Well, I first of all want to say that I love Milwaukee, and I understand that if Wisconsin's going to be strong, if we're going to have a vibrant, powerful economy for the 21st century, Milwaukee's got to be strong. And we've had politics for the last couple of decades where the Republicans have basically spat on Milwaukee again and again. They're doing everything they can to undermine Milwaukee and to pit the rest of the state against Milwaukee. And that has
Is that
gotta
just
stop.
from what point of view, like as far as what? Like the Democrats seem like when we talk about local government, this is a Democratic ran township. So I can't go and say that Trump messed up the city of Milwaukee.
And
I can't. I won't do
you know,
that.
Listen, any human institution is going to have challenges, right?
Right.
Because none of us are perfect. But I think the way that Milwaukee has been demonized for political purposes by Republicans at the state level is really cynical and it's wrong. And we've got to stand up against it and say, no, listen, Milwaukee has its problems like any other place. But Milwaukee has a lot of spirit. Milwaukee has a fighting spirit, and
Right.
I want Milwaukee to thrive.
But we get out and we vote all the time. Like we get out and vote, and we just want to know what are the result-based concepts that we can actually bank on from you. What are some of your things that you want to actually specifically get done here?
Yeah, my big priorities that I think are going to disproportionately help Milwaukee are raising the minimum wage and restoring collective bargaining to put more money in the pockets of workers and working families. We're going to fully fund public education, everything from early childhood, childcare, to K-12, to public higher education. Milwaukee has been really disadvantaged by the way that Republicans have starved our public schools of funds. We are going to open up the state health insurance and retirement plan to allow anybody to buy in. That's going to mean more vibrant small businesses opening up. And we're going to protect your freedom. We're going to protect Milwaukee's freedom to make its own local decisions. That's been really taken away by Republicans, taken away local control, and we're going to try to restore that.
Do you get to lower the taxes?
Yeah,
Do you get to make sure that we can get a tax break?
You know what, Tory? Every place I go in this state, every place, people are talking about their property taxes and how high they are. And the reason that they're high, you can point to one place, and it is Republican legislators in Madison that have starved our schools and our local governments of the funds they need. Meanwhile, they are sitting on billions of dollars of surplus at the state level. That is not right. We are already paying our taxes to the state, and the state is supposed to be putting that money back into our community so that we have good schools and good public services and safe roads. And they're not doing it.
So what would you do different from Governor Evers? Like, what ideas would you apply? Because Governor Evers, he said, "Okay, I'm not running anymore. I'm done with running the state." What would you do different as a governor than what's already been happening?
Well, I think we're going to have a very different situation in 2027. I think we're going to have a Democratic state Senate for the first time in a generation. And I think the Assembly is going to be very, very close. And listen, the governor has a lot of power, but for some things you need the legislature. But if we're going to take advantage of this opportunity, if we're going to actually use it to fund our schools, to make change, to improve access to health care for people, you got to have a governor who knows her stuff, that isn't putting her finger in the wind and waiting for a poll to say what the right thing to do is to help people. A governor who's willing to use political power, really wield political power to get things done to make life better for families.
Okay, and then many times when I talk about these state ideas, the governor, many times they have to, deal with what's going on with the Republicans and the governor. How much power does the governor have? Because I think that many times when we look at Governor Evers and we talk about he's managing a surplus many times. So how much of that money can be given to programs in the city of Milwaukee that can be used as resources for people in the underserved community, people that are having evictions ideas that are harming them from, being in a livable space. Rental ideas where, a lot of the residents are renters. They're not homeowners.
Right.
So the landlords have a lot of power here in Wisconsin. So how can we improve some of these ideas when it comes to homelessness, evictions, things like that? Like people many times wonder what can the state do to affect some of the things that are happening on the ground, and middle class as well. Middle class is starting to shrink.
Housing's expensive for everybody, and housing is probably the biggest pain point for most families these days, just because the costs have risen so much faster than people's incomes. So there's a lot that the state can do. The governor in Wisconsin is pretty powerful and has the ability to put out federal funds, and I think Governor Evers has done a good job of distributing those, like COVID area relief funds, getting them out to communities and people in need, businesses in need. But to distribute state money, you need the permission of the legislature. And I've served on the Joint Finance Committee, which is responsible for the state budget. So I know where the money is. I know where it's not going and where it should be going. Housing is a huge priority for me. For 13 years, I've been a successful small business owner. My business helps make it more affordable for people to buy and sell homes. And we need everybody to be able to afford a safe place to live. We need to build more housing at the state level. Of course, we're fighting against the rising cost of building housing because of the Trump tariffs and the way that his immigration rates have hurt our labor force. It's making it a lot more expensive to build. But there's a lot we can do at the state level to ensure more housing stock.
So what can the Democrats do better? If you get in office, what can the Democrats do better to help serve the community?
I think Democrats need to stop being scared of our own shadow. I think Democrats just need to have the courage of our convictions. You know, if you believe that health care is a right and people need to have access to health care and our schools should be funded, then by God, use your political power to do it. Talk about it every day, everywhere you go. Fight for your values. I think, people agree with Democrats on policies. If you just ask them, should abortion be a crime or should it be legal? Should marijuana be criminalized?
Would you legalize marijuana?
Of course. Tax it, regulate it. Let's let adults make their own decisions and let's make sure that this state has the revenue we need. If you ask people, they agree with Democrats on policies, but people don't like to see politicians get power and then make excuses as to why they can't do things. Like
using Donald Trump as an excuse.
Well, I mean, there are some things we can't do without the presidency. But
right, but what I'm saying is,
that we can do and
should. When we talk about the Milwaukee, when we talk about the amount of votes that they depend on to come out the city to affect these governor elections, I think a lot of people would scratch their head and wonder, what are they getting out of their votes? What are they getting in return? Because every time we get into these races, we come out. Milwaukee has definitely pushed a lot of people into office. But what I'm saying is, we have to have a written plan, something that we can say, you spent your 4 years doing this, and we got something out of it.
Yes.
And many times we don't have that something out of it conversation.
That's right. And it can be hard when there's divided government, right, to get all your priorities done. But that's why we need a governor with really strong leadership and really strong principles and a willingness to fight, the courage and the competence to get things done, and who knows what she wants to do. Go on my website, keldaroys.com.
That's what's up.
Check out my plan. I've got the receipts here. I've got the plan.
Well,
I know what I want to do. And listen, I'm not going to promise that I can get everything done that I want to. That's not how the world works. I'm not a dictator. I'm not going to break the law like Donald Trump. But I can promise you that I will wake up every day and do everything in my power to make life better for you, to raise your wages, to lower the costs on the big ticket items like housing and healthcare and childcare, and to guarantee your freedom.
Well, thank you for coming through, Kelda, because once again, as you further yourself into the campaign, make sure you swing back through to let us know what's going on and how it's going. Because I'm sure other candidates are going to swing through the show. But once again, we are going to make sure we keep an eye on you. And maybe, as we progress into the race, when you come back, we may have to get tougher on you. We may have to get a little tougher
Listen,
on you.
I'm ready. You vet me. I'm here to speak the truth, and I appreciate it, Tory.
Well, thank you so much. And like I said, stop back through. If you get into the big race, you got to stop back through. But I appreciate you for coming through and letting the people know how you feel of moving forward, how you feel that you're going to move forward, and what you can offer the people. And once again, this may not be our last conversation.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
All right. God bless you. Hey.
What comes next could be worse. So this is a story that is just beginning. It's not the end of the story.
Tory Lowe. Tory Lowe.
101.7 The Truth, Tory Lowe Show. Pop Culture Report. Hey, we got a special guest in studio. We got Steve Scafidi, host of Point Taken on WTMJ from 10 to noon, also co-host of Green Bay Game Day, and former mayor of Oak Creek.
Yes.
In studio.
Love it. It's been a while.
Now, look, I know you didn't already put your time in today, but I just need a few minutes to talk about a couple things that everybody's talking about.
I told you this yesterday. always an open door to my
Yes.
show, and I feel the same way with you.
Let me tell you something. 5 years on the air.
Yes.
And I remember when we was in the old building, and you've always been like that. We've always took time to talk and try to, talk about current events and topics and things like that. And I appreciate you for that because you would always give me the tips. I would always try to get some tips from you because you was a former mayor, and I'm like, hey, like, why is this? What is that? Why are they moving this way politically? So
I picked up some things in my life, and I'm 67 years old. And I've been a mayor. I worked in the private sector for 28 years in television, and I've been on radio for almost 10 years. You learn some things. You pick up some things. It's like your work in the community is part of the reason you sit in this chair because you've learned things. You've seen things. You understand things. And what I love about you, you're not afraid of anything, man. You just go at it. And whether it's a conversation or whether it's an action. But oh, by the way, a little aside, every year you plan your community cleanup. Every year I'm in Vegas. Not this year.
Why you coming out to the cleanup this year?
I actually got the date. I put it on my calendar. I'll be here. I will be
Powerful.
Here. Yes.
For you. Now, you would always tell me about taking trips with your audience.
Yes.
You go on trips.
I do.
What is that? Like, because in Truth Nation, let me tell you something. I've been trying to get on a trip from the Tory Lowe Show because he would always tell me, you need to get out there with the fans. You go to very extravagant, like long trips with your listeners.
Italy, Tuscany.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. The rivers of France last year. Germany. I mean, this year I'm going 2 of them. In 3 weeks, I'll be in Cancun, just having some fun in the sun.
Oh, wow.
With about 40 people. And then later this year, Hawaii with 53 people. More sun.
They just booking it ahead of time.
They want to travel with me. Now, here's the hook for you. What are you passionate about? Where do you want to go? And why should they go with you? That's it. That's the selling point. For me, it's just fun. I deliver fun. I'm all in. Some hosts, they show up for an hour a day, give a little speech, they leave. I live with these people.
Right.
I literally say this at my first introduction. I will read a book to you to help you fall asleep. With the door open in your room,
right?
Just for safety's sake. But I'll help you fall asleep. I'm all in on this, and that's what people love about these trips.
Powerful.
It's fun.
Man, I gotta, who want to go on a trip with Tory Lowe on the Tory Lowe Show?
I mean, that's it. Where would you go?
I would first go to like Bahamas. I would try to get my first trip would be the Bahamas. Yeah, I would do something with the Bahamas.
I smoke cigars and I love rum, so what's not to
like? Mexico, we would go to Mexico.
I was just in Mexico 4 weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just to have fun. And I don't even have vacation time. Like, I got a lot of vacation time because, we get vacation time. But then I try to cram it in December because all year I'm running around trying to assist and deal with people. Now I want to make sure that I do really good vacation, but we got to have a trip for the show.
How do you recharge the batteries if you don't take a vacation every once in a while? Because you stay up.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Too late.
I'm trying to figure that out.
All right. What'd you bring here me to talk about today?
You know what? I want to know a couple things because Minnesota's hot right now.
Absolutely.
There's a lot going on in Minnesota.
Absolutely.
But before we get to Minnesota, I wanted somebody that you kind of understand the political realm a little bit, being a part of the, being a mayor. What is going on with Venezuela?
That's a big question. Obviously, the abduction of...
From what you can see.
Yeah, from the abduction by U.S. military of their now former leader, Nicolas Maduro, who's now being held in detention in the United States. A country that has been very communist-friendly and very detrimental to our interests, which are oil in that country. It's one of the most mineral-rich, oil-rich, just basically everything, every natural resource is in Venezuela. And what has happened over the course of the last 30 years or so is they've pushed back against us and they've limited our ability, one, on the economic side, to reap some of the benefits of that, of a good cooperative relationship with the country, and two, the citizens of Venezuela have suffered because they've been oppressed. And, I said this on our show the other day, Point Taken. Revolution is never easy. It doesn't happen that often. We are a byproduct of revolution because that's how our country started, pushing away from Great Britain. But it's not easy. And in the country of Venezuela, even after the abduction and removal of Nicolas Maduro, what comes next could be worse. So this is a story that is just beginning. It's not the end of the story. Whatever happens to Nicolas Maduro will happen. He'll be tried in U.S. courts for various charges. But for the people of Venezuela, and more importantly, the relationship between the two countries, which is strained, Can it improve? That's a big question that's really, really hard to answer with the limited information we have right now.
So it's not about oil.
It's about everything. It's about everything.
I heard that America's dollar is built on our control over the oil. Basically, that's what backs the U.S. dollar because it makes it strong. Yeah, it's a big industry. I think that when you talk about people trying to create different systems like BRICS, they're basing it on the natural resources as well. Yes. So I think that we kind of have control over the economy because for a long time, the dollar has been the main exchange for oil. It's
weakened over the last year or so. So here's a couple things going on here. One, the oil company executives that were all over the networks last night are saying, we're going to slow roll this one because then, as I just said, the uncertainty that exists in Venezuela is real, and you don't pump dollars into something where you can't trust where the money's going and how it's going to impact your business. The other piece that's really significant, the administration has almost the opposite approach. We want... I'm acting for the administration, speaking for the administration here. We want U.S. oil companies to be all in. Mm-hmm. That dichotomy, that weird, tension is something that has to be figured out. There's no easy answers here. Venezuela is a big, strong country with a lot of people. And until this president and this administration and Venezuelan citizens figure out what comes next, the oil companies and everybody else will not know what to do. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's a good hot take.
Yeah.
Also, I want to come back to the United States. Minnesota has been in the news for a couple things, but as of recent, a woman was shot by an ICE agent. I gave my take on
Tell me what your take
620.
was.
My take was, from my point of view, when I'm out at protests and police officers are around, I always tell people, step back because it's a gray area when you approach officers. And if they're not there for you, what are you there for? So you got to kind of establish that. Now,
be careful.
Yeah, be careful. But when it's federal and you're approaching them or you're in the space where you're engaging with them, many times when people protest, they want that face-to-face look that they show in the newspaper. I don't even want that. I want to be like farther away because I don't want them to grab me, throw on charges, obstruction. So when I'm out and about with protesters and we're in this type of situation, I tell them to step back. I automatically tell them to step back because many times they're not financially equipped to handle if they start getting accosted. So when I saw this video, and I hope Andrew can run the video while we're discussing this, when I saw this video, I saw something that I've seen in real life before where she kind of panicked because they were trying to approach her. She tried to reverse and drive away, but during that process, one of the agents was standing in front of the van, and he was the one that actually shot her. But what I'm saying is, I don't feel that her intentions was to harm a person.
Oh, I completely agree. I don't think that's what she was there for. She's there to protest. But here's the thing. You mentioned it. When you have that tension, when you're closely interacting with each other, the law enforcement community, in this case ICE, they don't know what your intentions are. So they have to try to guess or figure out what you're going to do next. They don't know if you're going to try to run over an officer or not. Do I think the ICE agent overreacted? Yes, I do. And I don't even think the ICE agent in question, who we still don't know the identity of, was following protocols. That's another piece of the story is many of these newly hired ICE agents, and I don't know if this individual meets that criteria or not, they may not have the training necessary to do this. But I'm going to use a fault line analogy, right? San Andreas Fault, Southern California. When you have an area of high tension, the last thing you want to do is increase tension.
Right.
You mentioned it. Getting in the face, getting in front of law enforcement, whatever degree, whatever level that is not going to improve the situation.
It's not.
Doesn't mean you can't protest, but do it in a way that doesn't ramp up the agitation and the tension in the environment. That's what happened there.
And I agree. I do this when I'm out. I always tell people it's not worth the conflict. I stop looking at the mainstream media showing this face-to-face, police with shields, citizens. That's mainstream media. In real life, I got to deal with when they get arrested and don't have money to get out of jail, and then they looking for attorneys. Attorneys is not going to take that. That's too gray. and then you get into the federal agent, you definitely gonna have to foot that bill because you're going to get citations and things like that. And no judge in the country is going to go against a federal agent unless they're just egregious, super egregious.
Yeah, and I had a local attorney on, Rick Essenberg, who's argued cases in front of the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And he said this is such a gray one. It's highly unlikely, he said, that they're going to rule against the officer or the agent in this case. So what do we have? Again, this is another one of those what comes next stories. I've been very vocal about this administration pushing on the question of illegal immigration, right? So they have inserted themselves, ICE agents and the organization, into these communities. The biggest problem I have with the current administration, the Trump administration, not that we shouldn't round up criminals, we should always encourage that. I think that's a standard that should exist for everybody, regardless of the politics.
Even on the local level.
Yes, but this woman, last time I checked, at least as far as I know, is not a criminal. She did the wrong thing at the completely wrong time, but she's not here illegally. It sounds like she's a U.S. citizen. She's 37 years old, which is a tragedy beyond tragedies because now she leaves behind a son who doesn't have a father. Grandfather has to come and sort of be that fill-in parent. It's a sad story. But don't interject yourselves into situations that are highly volatile, dangerous, because you're not improving the outcome. And that's I know it's a hard thing for some protesters to understand, and you have every right to protest. But don't make a bad situation even worse. That's always been my belief. And I've been in protests on the observation side. I've seen them happen. I luckily didn't have them in Oak Creek, but I've been part of other ones and watched it happen, watched it unfold. It gets really dangerous really quick.
I had to fight a situation right here in Milwaukee with Terry Williams at the lakefront, where the officer put himself in front of the vehicle while he was trying to escape or find an escape route at the lakefront from a sheriff. Deputy. So these people were able to get off because of the circumstances and being in front of the vehicle. They don't know what your intentions are, but no people who are trying to get away, they're not saying, "Oh, I'm finna run somebody over." She's just maneuvering in the vehicle she's in, and you can see that the wheel was turned to go straight the other way, and the officer, the agent, was just there. But he, like you said, why escalate the situation? I don't know what she was originally there for in the first place. I only see the end of what happened. I don't know what happened in the beginning. I don't know if it was a protest. I don't know if they was trying to block the street. I don't know, because a lot of protesters are starting to try to maneuver in these situations. But I got two words for anybody that's trying to get involved with these federal agents: Hannah Dugan. And if that judge can get done like this, what you think is going to happen to you?
Yeah, now she's resigned, and she'll obviously appeal her case. I feel so badly for the state of Minnesota. Obviously, you can go back to George Floyd. They had the killings of their elected representatives in the state of Minnesota that happened last year. It is and now, of course, the tragedy yesterday. It's a sad state of affairs. And as much as I like to have fun with the relationship between Wisconsin and Minnesota, mainly based on football, there are neighbors in the Midwest, and I feel for these people. My understanding is the woman was part of a neighborhood protest that was essentially trying to form a car blockade, so that the ICE agents couldn't.
Trying to impede. See, there, you woke up that day and put yourself in the wrong position. Because I tell protesters, you have a right to voice your opinion. This is why we elected officials. You can write them a letter. You can see what they can do. But when you insert yourself physically into a situation, they have an edict that they got to try to resolve, because this is what the current administration ran on. And America voted for this. I mean, you may not like it, but this is what was campaigned on.
Absolutely.
So what I'm saying is, you're not going to stop that with your car. And no, I don't care if a person is donkey gang or elephant gang. Nobody wants to see a person lose their life. And that's what happened. And I think both sides feel like they didn't want to see this.
We're on the same page on this. I think it's an unfortunate tragedy, but don't escalate the incident beyond what it should have been, which was a peaceful protest.
Tory Lowe Show. Pop Culture Report, brought to you by Steve Scafidi, host of Point Taken on WTMJ from 10 to noon. Thank you for coming through for the Pop Culture Report.
Absolutely. I want your bump music. I want your producer's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. I see him every day.
That's what's up.
We have a lot. I found out, this is totally random, but I was talking about a point I was trying to make on the show, and all of a sudden we realized we just read the same book.
What?
Malcolm Gladwell, Revenge of the Tipping Point. It's a great book.
Oh, wow.
You should read it because it's very relevant to what we're talking about today.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm going to have to check that out.
All right. You a big reader?
I think I read something that I'm interested in.
So every year I make a sort of, not a stupid resolution like go work out, which is always important.
Put the fork down.
Yeah, there you go. That's the magic. No, mine was last year read 24 books. I read 25, and I keep a list. This year it's 50 books. Already knocked out 2 in the first week.
Oh, that's powerful.
I'm on my way.
That's powerful.
And for the first time ever, not ever, first time in the last couple of years, I read some fiction last year, which I usually just read nonfiction, the real life stuff. But I needed a break.
That's what's up.
So I ripped through 3 books in like a couple weekends.
Now, you are a former mayor
Absolutely.
of Oak Creek. Now, the mayor of Minneapolis made a statement about this ICE shooting, and a lot of people felt that he could have been a little unprofessional. But I want you to hear this again. If you're watching as we broadcast live, we got the mayor of Minneapolis responding to the woman getting shot by the ICE agent, and I want you to hear his reaction. If you're watching as we broadcast live, let's listen.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, this was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Oh, wow.
We do not want you.
Strong words.
Hey, get out.
Get the out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have used that word. This is my sense, and I've been in some pretty volatile situations. We had a mass shooting in Oak Creek in 2012 that I had to deal with. Right, a brand new mayor, and I was very passionate and very caught up in the agony and the grief of the Sikh community who suffered that tragedy. 6 people killed then, and obviously another person from that shooting died a couple years later. But I'm not a fan of elected leaders, mayors or otherwise. Even the President of the United States has sort of dipped his toe into this arena of using language like that, because I think it doesn't improve the situation. You may not know this or not. I use the F word when I'm not on the radio.
Well, I do swear, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
But it's not in the public.
And I don't use the word in anger. And I'm listening to Mayor Fry speak with those words in an angry tone. And last time I checked, and I got great advice from a former mayor who told me after our shooting, one of your principal jobs as mayor, this is from Steve Hogan, who was the mayor of Aurora, Colorado. And if you remember that story, that was the theater shooting, mass shooting in a theater. He called me the night of our shooting. He said, your number one job is to calm your community. Those kinds of words are not calming. Those are more passionate, raise up the arms.
Driving the protest.
Yes. And again, it's perfectly fine to protest. But if your protest makes the situation worse, what are you accomplishing?
And worse for you. Because a lot of people that protest are poor. Right. And you don't see a lot of wealthy people. I see a lot of bust-in protesters because they're getting paid to protest. And then you get people who are truly concerned, but they don't got $700 to spend because they're trying to maintain. So I don't practice people getting arrested at protests. I don't practice it. I've never put a protest on where somebody outside of me got arrested. I'll get arrested because I'll wake up and be like, okay, this is the day I may get arrested. I already have the money put aside to get bailed out. But what I'm saying is I see a lot of people get caught up in the hype. They'll get out there and words like this will kind of lead them into a space where all out or nothing against something that they probably can't win.
It's a point in his history as mayor that he'll have to confront at some point, because at some point someone's going to run against him, or he'll not be mayor anymore. And it's something that's on your record. You were a mayor that chose to go that far in your response. And look, I completely understand the anger. One of your citizens was killed in a situation where no death was required, and that's tragic and sad, and all the things we just talked about. But to me, that makes the situation worse, and I'm not a fan of it.
Right. Well, like I said, I think there are going to be some protests in Milwaukee over
sure,
that, too.
yeah.
So, like I said, but be safe. You have a right to fight and protest and things like that. But if you're going to approach these agents, make sure that you understand that it's going to cost you. And whatever, if you're willing to pay the cost, I don't know. But it's not cheap. I'm trying to tell you, that's federal court. That's a lot of attorney fees. I'm trying to tell you, make sure that you're prepared, because these are not the situations if you are financially not there to get involved in.
If you're going to protest, use your brain and your voice. Make the smart decision on how you conduct yourselves, how you're in a safe place. You started this conversation about talking about getting right in the face or right up to the. That's an area of uncertainty, and then when you have that area where anything could happen, sometimes really bad things will happen, and that's what we're talking about with Minneapolis. It's tragic, horrible.
Before you get out of here, I know you are the co-host of Green Bay Game Day.
Absolutely, Alex Strofe and Gabe Neitzel join me from ESPN 94.5.
Paf!
That's a trio.
Now let me tell you this: do Packers come out with the victory?
I'm optimistic. I'm going to say
against the Bears.
Yes. I say the Packers. I'm going to say this. I'll say the Packers win 27-24. High scoring game.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know what the point spread is. Probably not. It's 1.5. So I'm saying 3. Packers win. Maybe a late. How about a walk-off field goal? What do you think?
I think that it's Green Bay all the way. I think that the Bears won the last game. The Packers won the first game. Bears won the last game. And if you go with the pattern, it's our turn to win.
Thanks for having me in here.
Hey, thank you, Scafidi. I appreciate you. And thank you. I have to come down. I'm going to have to come at 9 o'clock and get on the show and do some chatter with you.
You are always welcome, my friend.
Look, Steve Scafidi, host of Point Taken on WTMJ from 10 to noon. Thank you so much.
Go Pack.
My question of the day, I want to open up the lines. Because I want to know, how do you know when the relationship is over? And I think it's different. I think the man acts a certain way when the relationship is over. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about when you just, you don't want to be with this person no more, you about to leave. I want to know, when do you know the relationship is over? And everybody, it's different for everybody. I think it's different from man. I think it's different from male, female. I think different races handle it different, depending on their tradition. I don't think it's like one answer to the question. But a lot of people struggle when it's over. They don't know how to, like GP said, it's like a lost art on how to move on.
GP's not the person I would take any relationship advice from.
But I'm talking about, like he said, that they don't know, some people don't know how to just be like, okay, this is over. I'm talking about that clip. Yeah. What I'm saying is, it's different for everybody. I don't think it's one answer. But I do think it's some similarities. Because communication, once the communication is like, y'all stop talking, then who you talking to if you ain't talking to me? Because I know you like to talk. So if you ain't talking to me, I don't think you just somewhere quiet. You just only being quiet to me. Or I'm being only quiet to you because I love to talk. So I'm just choosing not to speak to you, right? So I'm obviously putting that energy and time somewhere else. But just like talking, if we're not having that physical attraction, I don't know.
Hey.
You could possibly. I know you like to have the intimacy. You're just not having it with me, so it brings up, hey, where is it going, right? So
I know you like to cuddle.
Yeah, I know you like to be the little spoon. So why aren't you little spooning it? Let me be the big spoon, you be the little spoon. What's going on here? 833-212-1017. I want to know, when do you find out, or when do you know when the relationship is over? And then how did you handle it? I mean, how many times have somebody just came up to him and sat down and was like, you know what? I think this relationship is over. That's only in the movies. You know what? I think this relationship is over, and I think we should go our separate ways. I mean, it sounds simple, but oftentimes when I'm dealing with domestics or people trying to get away from something and they get a stalker and a stranger, because people, they may not be ready to let go when you're ready to let go. Maybe they need some time to kind of manufacture the idea that the person that they love is about to go. And here you go, you done already moved on, you done already pre-planned it, you done already went through your detachment phase, and you like, hey, I'm out of here. You already got your next setup waiting for you, on speed dial.
Getaway car driver.
And you already got your next 5 years at least ready, waiting. 833-212-1017. How do you know when the relationship is over, Andrew?
When the text bubbles turn green, Tory.
What you mean when the text bubbles turn green? If you got an iPhone, do it turn green if you texting? My phone turns green when I text an Android.
If you're blocked, it turns green.
Oh. That's how you can tell if you blocked on iPhone. What? Blocked. Look, I think I done seen some people get past the block.
Oh, how?
Because even though they're not talking on the phone, they got social media. And if your significant other's active online, now they might block you, but what I'm saying is you give it some time. As long as you don't mess with their inbox, they may not block you. But if you let a couple months go by and be like, hey, I'm just checking on you, boom, you might can slide back in there.
New year, new me, yeah.
Right. Or they checking out your social media and then you done dressed up, sprayed some cologne on, went out on a few dates, and now they got the desire, that fire back for you.
Started a weight loss challenge, started working on a good show.
How come every time somebody break up, they want to go lose weight?
Because you want to
Why
turn
did you
into a new
lose
person.
weight in the relationship? I'm just saying.
Nobody's ever been broken up with because they're too fit.
I'm just saying. Why every time people break up, now you want to go for the walks and now you want to go to the gym because you're trying to get back down to where you met the first person? Why would you let yourself go? So are you losing weight to get the next person so you can gain weight again? Or I don't know.
Comfort weight.
Are you going to keep it up? We got Kawana in the chat. She preaching in the chat. I'm seeing it. I guess they having a conversation. Where the top one? Not really. A city girl says, I knew it was over when the very sight of that person made me irritated, on edge, and sick to my stomach. Wow. That's when you know you're detached.
That's when you start seeing those divorce lawyer emails coming a lot more.
I remember when I used to hear people say, you make me sick. Well, you have to be in love to even feel that way. If you don't like the person, you don't get sick when you see them.
What do you get?
Like, you don't feel nothing. You don't have the attachment. But only when you really like a person and then the hate or it flip, that's what I think creates the sickness, because you used to like that person.
I can tell you, I've met people
You done shared your
from the
most
beginning.
intimate moments with this person.
Off the rip, I've met some people. I'm like, I don't like you. I'm sick seeing you.
I mean, this off the top, how do you don't like somebody you don't even know?
Doesn't take long for me to get a read, Tory.
Well, you might be one of those people. I can't say the whole name on the air. You might be one of those people that judgments.
I think I just have a low tolerance for dumb people.
Well, I think that I just give everybody a chance to do whatever they gonna do unless they do something directly to me. I don't care what they do.
Trying to be more like you, Tory.
Yeah, I'm not even. I mean, I think that. Can I say asshole on the air? Yeah. I thought you couldn't say that, but okay, that's what that sounds like, Andrew. Like a little, got a little asshole in you. Yeah, but to me, I just feel like when you're in love with somebody, and then it doesn't work, and then you see them, and you know that you just shared all these intimate, personal moments with them. That's what makes you sick to your stomach, because they done seen you come out the shower, like they done got close to you. And now you got to leave, and y'all got to break up because it didn't work out. So, yeah, I mean, I can see that. Kawana said what I said and kept it pushing is how I'm going to always handle it. what they don't appreciate, someone else will. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Man, but you don't want to call yourself trash, right?
Well, I'm just saying that's what the saying is.
That's tough luck.
That's what the saying is. One man's trash is another man's pleasure. Hey. That's what it is. I mean, 833-212-1017. How did you know when your relationship was over? I want to know. Because I think that people, when they get to this moment, sometimes this is where they make the bad decisions. I'm finna go spray paint his car. I'm finna go, and you know they got that song, I bust the windows out your car. We got to get this part right. We got to get this part right. How do you know when the relationship is over? Are you calm when you get out of a relationship? You got to have that 4th of July spark. You got to have that excuse of being the victim. Some people got to be a victim. Sometimes people won't break up with you. They want you to break up with them so they can say, you broke up with me. Like they want to keep the victimization going, especially if they got kids, especially if it's kids involved. And many times the man, sometimes they'll hear the story that it's a saying that my dad went and got some milk. My dad went to get some milk and never came back. Like, they didn't never say that mama drove him out the house. Mommy wasn't, sometimes people know how to push people away to where they do leave so they can look like the hero in the story. Some people will hold on, they won't break up with you. But their behavior will be so bad that the other person will leave. And then they'll say, you left me. Well, you crazy. You know what I mean? I'm not sticking around. But that looks bad. Because especially when you got babies. Like, some people will just irritate that person they try to see who's going to leave first. Kind of like chicken. Like, they both acting crazy, and then whoever leaves first is the loser. That's wild. I asked you my question the other day before we get out of here.
Okay, talk to me.
How do you know the relationship is over? Like, is it different from men? Do men act a certain way when they know that the relationship is over? Do women act a certain way? How do you know from a male standpoint when a man is done with the relationship?
You want a real answer or you want a funny answer?
Try to throw in both.
Okay, boom. This is the best piece of advice my mother has ever given me. If a woman don't want to give you no cat, you are cooked. And I've had that happen to me a couple times.
What? They went cold on you.
They can't stand to be around you. It ain't no touchy-feely. It ain't no none of that. If you can't be emotionally there and you can't be physically there also, it's someone removing themselves because that's
withdraw. But I seen people bring people back from the dead though. I didn't see folks because really what the withdrawal is a discomfort.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see people bring people back from that stage because I was like, y'all still together?
But a lot of people don't want to put in that work. A lot of people don't want to do the work that it takes to come back from the graveyard, essentially. And so that's what leads to situations where people cheat or you get caught texting somebody else because you feel like you need to confide somewhere else, whether you're looking for that physical release or whether you're looking for that emotional release.
Right.
And so I would say that's my first answer. My first answer would be when you're not getting some no more. But also, you just know when someone's kind of pulling away from you. You can't talk about things as open.
But do you try to remedy the situation at that point?
You can try to communicate as much as you want, but when a woman is done, a woman is done. It's very hard to come back from that dark place.
Is that basically based on cheating?
I plead the fifth.
Hey, some things you can't come back from.
You're right. Sometimes you just can't. You just got to move on. You got to start fresh.
Yeah, once you cheat, I think it's hard to come back from that.
It ain't hard. I mean, I've spun the block a couple times.
You just spun the block after cheating on somebody?
I'm just different out here.
Oh, wow.
I'm just different out here. It is what it is.
Now, this could be a hustle. This could be something that don't have nothing to do with towing. I'm going to throw that out there because why would you have an unmarked towing vehicle and take somebody's car? 101.7 The Truth, Tory Lowe Show. Now, I told y'all in 2025 that this was going to happen this year. They had it in the budget that people got tickets waiting on them. They got enough tickets for everybody in Milwaukee to get one. Okay. And also, I told y'all that this towing thing was out of hand last year. We talked about this towing thing. I even did a whole segment on this towing. How a lot of people are upset because their cars are being towed. Understand what I'm saying? Well, we have a resident. It's already New Year. This happened Monday. He come out to walk the dog, and his car missing. And this is an older resident. This is not some young, reckless driver. See, y'all, they got you focused on the reckless driver because they can't even catch them. You know what I mean? Sometimes these reckless drivers, they jump out the car and they get to running and the car's stolen. But they can get you because you registered. Okay, understand what I'm saying? So it's the misdirection. They'll create a situation, and then what we don't understand is we're giving them the power to catch the regular citizens up. And this is an elder on the news. Once again, we starting out the year with the elder on the news being abused by the system. If you're watching this rebroadcast live, I'm going to need all my elders to see this. I'm going to need everybody, every decent citizen to watch this one. Because y'all talking about the problems in the community, but trust me, this is the truth. The elders got his car towed from in front of his house. Time's up. Hey, let's run this audio. Let's listen.
Park right here.
It is not what this Milwaukee man expected when he took his dog outside early Monday morning.
They stole my vehicle while I was in the house.
His 2005 Dodge Grand Caravan missing from the street in front of his home at 6th and Meineke.
Why would you want to steal that? You know, I worked hard to get it, but I didn't want to lose it like that.
What makes it sting even more is watching how it was stolen.
Dropped the tow thing, pull it back.
Surveillance from a church across the street shows a white unmarked tow truck pull up around 8:45 Sunday night.
Put it right up under my car, lifted it up, and pull it right off.
In less than 2 minutes, the driver was gone, with the van being pulled behind it.
I just felt like crying, 'cause that's all I had.
Aaron was confused and says he has no violations that would warrant a tow truck to take his vehicle. The city's DPW confirms all tow trucks it uses are clearly marked.
Yeah, he didn't have no tickets, his license is up to date, plates are clean.
For now, Aaron is relying on his son to help him get around.
Just respect other people, you wouldn't want this to happen to you.
They're warning others to watch out, uncertain if they'll ever see their van again.
If you can return it, please return it. That's all I'm asking. That's all I got.
Wow. Now, this could be a hustle. This could be something that don't have nothing to do with towing. I'm going to throw that out there because why would you have an unmarked towing vehicle and take somebody's car? And he said he has no tickets. So maybe it could be something funny going on. But at the same time, it could be something going on the back end. I hope they ain't bringing chop shops back. I was happy that chop shops it wasn't that many chop shops anymore because they started getting busted. People was telling, these young people, the streets is telling everything. So a lot of the chop shops they almost became obsolete. If you got a chop shop, it's not around here. You got to drive 3 hours away to go to do something like that. But around here, those chop shops didn't make it that far. But what I'm saying is I hope they're not trying to bring it back because it looked like that car got stolen, and thank God they had the camera to see. Even his son said his dad didn't have no tickets or anything.
It's like bittersweet because you have the camera to see it's getting taken, but you also can't get a license plate either. So it's like I see my car getting stolen, but what can I do about it?
Somebody said that the catalytic converters, they're still in those. 833-212-1017 if you want to join the conversation. Remember, the question of the day is, do you know when the relationship is over? Brother Love. How you doing, Brother Love?
Hey, man, I'm doing fabulous. How you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, Brother Love? You calling for the question of the day, or you calling to chime in on the tow truck?
Oh, yeah. I'm calling the question of the day. That's a good question.
Yeah, the question of the day is, how do you know when the relationship is over?
Well, how I know, Tory, is when God says over.
So God will tell you, hey, it's over, Brother Love.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Because God didn't bless me. God didn't bless me with the evil woman. He blessed me with good women in my life. So, and when it's over, God says over, or when she says over, it's over, and I'm gone.
Right, you ain't giving no resistance.
No, not at all. I handle rejection well, and I respect her decision to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? I can do better than you. Or without you. And also, Tory, I'm on a bus stop right now. It's still good out here. But, when I lost my car, and then, you know what I'm saying, she said she gone because I don't have a car.
Oh, wow. So she left you because you didn't have a car, so she was using it for the car?
Yes. I lost my car. It broke down. I didn't know what to do, so I just jumped it. Or one of them tow truck people came and got it, and she said she gone.
Oh, wow.
Her in with a best ride.
So was she with you for the love, because she loved you, or for what you can offer?
She was with me for the love.
Okay.
Yeah, she was with me for the love.
She just couldn't have no man without a car.
Yeah, and it broke down, and I didn't know how to fix it. I couldn't fix it. I didn't know how to fix it. So the tow truck people came and got it, and she said, I'm gone. So she might be with that tow truck man.
She probably rode off in the car with him.
Yeah.
She stayed in the passenger and you got out.
Okay, brother, have a good one.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Thank you for tapping in. Here we go. We got Kim on the lines. Kim says her car got stolen the same way. How you doing, Kim?
Hey, how you doing? So it didn't get stowed, but they tried to tow it, and I caught them in the action of towing it, so I had to give them $50 for them to unhook. Yes.
Okay,
and
so hold on. Where were you at?
I was at Walgreens.
Where was the location? They towed it in front of
Walgreens, the 35th in Wisconsin.
So the Walmart on 35th in Wisconsin, you parked in the lot.
No, Walgreens.
Okay, so you at Walgreens on 35th in Wisconsin, and all of a sudden you parked to go in to the Walgreens and come out, and they got your car on the lift.
They got it on they already had it hooked up and everything. The people in Walgreens was like, is that your vehicle? Because they finna tow it. And I was like, oh, my goodness, I was only in here for like 1 minute. So they had to be watching me somewhere. You know what I'm saying? When I came out, they was like, to be honest, I was finna try to take off. I don't know what I was finna do because I was mad, and I knew they was on some bull crap. And they was like, well, do you want to talk to us and see what you can do? And I'm like, yeah, and they like, we need $50.
And you gave it to him cash?
And I'm like, well, I had to.
Did he give you a receipt?
They didn't give me a receipt or nothing, but it was 2 against 1. I'm a woman, and I'm a woman.
Hold on, they supposed to write you a receipt.
They would. They didn't. And you know what? But the same guys that did that to me, they did it to my cousin, and it's on Facebook. This is actually on Facebook. He actually told them. He gave them the $50, and then they got into it, and he took his $50 back out his hand, snatched them, and he snatched his glasses. All this is online.
And he got the car.
I guarantee you. And he got his car back. Yeah, and he got his car back. He got his $50 back, and he took their glasses.
Oh, wow. You telling people, okay, give me $50, I'm going to drop your truck. You telling that to an elder. The elder crying, can't barely walk. They don't have no means to get around. That's all they got is their car and where they live, and you about to cripple them in their daily activities.
That's like extortion.
It is extortion. Milwaukee alderman moved to block tow company accused of predatory practices. Now, we've been talking about these towing companies, and I'm telling you, this is what's powerful about Truth Nation. We so far ahead dealing with the community when we talk about things ahead of time, and we can get that message out there, and it kind of helps. It kind of helps when we can have a soundboard for what's really happening in on the block. I'm happy about this one because I made a whole video about this months ago. Now they're saying that they're going to move to deny them licensing. The alderman is making the move to block the tow company. We got video on this. If you're watching as we broadcast live, hit the like and subscribe button. Let's listen.
It's a viral video Fox 6 first showed you back in March. A confrontation between an elderly man and the people towing away his car.
Out of here. Okay, bro. Watch your knife, bro.
At the time, DT2 Towing said it did nothing wrong. Now the owner is back in the hot seat.
Every day I get a call about you. Every single day.
Tuesday night, Don Thurman fielded questions and criticism at a licensing committee meeting.
I have made a whole lot of changes and willing to continue to make changes to try to help.
People testified against the tow operator, saying they only accepted cash for payment and preyed upon people like Annie Smith. Her car was towed from a handicap spot at a Walgreens on Christmas Day, 2024. Despite having a handicap plate, she was told her car was parked over the line.
Yeah, I just think that they towed my car without reason. I couldn't understand that.
Her attorney says the company is being deceptive.
It gives everybody a bad name. It gives everybody a bad name.
The committee voted unanimously to stop DT2 Towing from continuing to operate like it has.
So I'm going to move for a non-renewal.
Sending a message, the business needs to change.
Getting rid of the bad apples is going to make the rest of the bunch better.
All right. Well, what I'm saying is this needs to happen because people's voices need to be heard. I don't feel sorry for these towing companies. The bad practices, what you mean you're trying to get it right, you to make some changes? No. Y'all had enough time to get it right. Y'all hear these people screaming when y'all shaking them down. That's what y'all doing. You got to eat that. That's bad business practices. You got to go. You got to go. Ain't no second chance. You probably ain't even on your second chance. Ain't no telling how many chances you had to get this together. Abusing the people is not accepted. It's not going to ever be accepted, at least not in my eyes. And these are elders. That woman on the news, that's a elder. And y'all, y'all doing elders like this. Your company is an embarrassment to the public. Anytime you went and did a white elder like that, let me stop. You don't see them doing this to no white people. You don't see that. You don't see the dramatic situations like that. You don't see it. But you're doing our elders like this. We got to send up some prayers for our elders in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. These last couple of years, it's been tough. It's been tough for our elders. And I've been trying. To be a voice and speak out against a lot of the harsh behavior that the elders are going through. Ain't no way the elders should be on this news this year being neglected. If it happened this year, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be on the news right next to it, and I might have to put the baby powder on my hand and slap whoever doing it. Leave these elders alone. Last year they couldn't sleep because of housing. Like they was out protesting. Now, the beginning of the year, 2 towing stories. It's already the 7th, and it's elders in the story. Now, and they not taking they not making receipts. They're taking the money cash. These ain't no reckless drivers that they causing harm to. These ain't the people that's breaking the law. These are regular citizens, elders, some of the most vulnerable people in our community that they taking advantage of. Women, elders, people that got to go to work. This whole towing thing is trash in the city of Milwaukee. The whole towing thing is trash. However y'all got it set up. I'm tired of people hitting me up with different videos telling me that my vehicle missing in front of my house. So you can't go to sleep at night. You worried about the tow truck. Hoping that your car there in the morning. That's wild. That's wild. Now we got to find out what's going on with the tow truck that don't got a sign on the side. It's a tow truck out here taking folks' vehicles that ain't even got a label on the side now. Okay, I'm for this. I don't want to hear no, you got to go. I'm for this. We even made a video. We pull up the video on Facebook that I posted when they towed Elizabeth Brown's truck. If you're watching this broadcast live, run that video. This is from my Facebook.
You acting like a real Mark right now. On my mom. You acting.
Yeah, playing without the audio because it was getting wild over there. They was cussing this man out. But what I'm saying is, just run it without the audio. I could talk through it. The guy that's about to raise the truck onto the bed was the slick talking one. He was talking crazy to everybody. That's the one in the video with the old man talking crazy. He a whole character out here in the tow truck world. He got a slick mouth, everything. I mean, all right, I was gonna say something. I shouldn't even say it. No, you don't want me to say this one. Because, never mind. Andrew, you don't want me to say this one. Because I need to be on the podcast. Just like how you muted the audio, how you muted the audio, I got to mute myself sometimes. But once again, this happened a while back, and now that same company that was out here just being disrespectful. I hope that they make the right call, finish the process, and block their license from towing in the city of Milwaukee. That would be a step in the right direction. It would send a message to other tow companies, and hopefully they don't do predatory practices. Because predatory practices, when you taking money and you're not writing a receipt, you telling people, okay, give me $50, I'm going to drop your truck. You telling that to an elder. The elder crying, can't barely walk. They don't have no means to get around. That's all they got is their car and where they live, and you about to cripple them in their daily activities.
That's like extortion.
It is extortion. But see, it's only going on around black people. This would never happen on the outskirts. Andrew, would this happen around where you live at?
I live downtown. So
no, I'm talking about where you grew up at. No, not where you moved to. Come on now. I'm talking about where, when you ready to go back home and hang out. This would never happen around there.
This would not happen to me, Wally, or Leave It to Beaver, no.
No. I mean, I'm just saying, like, the dynamics, they come to black communities, they rape the black communities, then we supposed to take it. This is what they do in our communities. It's a lot of stuff that go on in our communities because they feel like they can do it. And ain't nobody gonna say nothing. But that's finna change. That's finna change. It's finna change to 2026 because now if it's elders, if I get a call and it's my elders and this is stuff going on with people mistreating people, I'm telling you, I might have to get the baby powder out. I might have to write, hey, I might have to wind up. I'm just saying, because enough is enough. You ain't got no respect. No respect. This could be anybody. This could be anybody under the sound of my voice going through this. There's a 12-year-old fighting for recovery after being hit by an unlicensed driver. Now, they about to crack down on y'all unlicensed drivers. You know, many times, you know, you can get that first warning. But I was listening to some on the way here where they was talking about unlicensed drivers. Like if you get pulled over twice, depending on the, you know, situation, you could actually start going to jail and things like that. But this is another situation. A 12-year-old is fighting for his life after being hit by an unlicensed driver. We got video on this one as well. Let's listen.
He got hit by a car. And then we all ran to the truck and I drove down there and seen him laying down there on the ground.
Daniel Millette will never forget the moment he saw his son Cameron lying motionless next to his mini bike.
I already thought he was dead.
Oh, wow.
Daniel says Cameron was just blocks away from home on December 22nd when he was hit by this black car while in the crosswalk of this intersection on Milwaukee's north side.
Of course, I thought the worst already because he wasn't moving, talking, nothing.
Cameron was rushed to the intensive care unit where he remains after breaking dozens of bones all over his body and losing all of his top teeth. His parents now fear he won't be able to walk on his own again.
It's pretty horrible. You know, you see it on TV, you're like, oh, people get better, some people don't, some people die. You know, it's part of life, but you don't want to see it happen to your child, you know.
Prosecutors say the driver, 38-year-old Michael Mack, told officers he heard a loud bang as his BMW was struck by something. The police report says Mack stated he did not have a driver's license or auto insurance. Wow. Investigating officers noted this will be Mack's second operating without a license in 3 years. Mack was charged with 2 felonies.
For something like this, it happens when you hit a kid and you have no insurance. They don't have the money to fix it, pay for it.
Daniel and Cameron's mother, Jennifer, say they're now facing mounting medical bills after learning their health insurance won't cover the costs of cosmetic surgery.
So he'll never be able to eat again normal if we don't fix his teeth. Probably be made fun of the rest of his life. And we don't want that for him.
Cameron's parents are now hoping strangers will support them to help their 7th grader recover.
And we can. We don't have the money for it.
Wow. Did they have a GoFundMe in there? So pin the GoFundMe in the chat just in case somebody wants to donate to this family. This is a sad situation. Like when you talk about families being disrupted, you know, people out here driving unlicensed. I believe if you're driving without a license, that's reckless driving because you don't have insurance. So look at this situation. Now the full burden is on the parents. And you weren't even supposed to be out there driving in the first place. So that's tough. That's tough. Hey, I feel for this family. And they got to pay for it out of pocket. And if they don't have insurance themselves or insurance that can cover that, or if they got a deductible, a huge deductible, it's just so many things that we have to be thankful for on a day-to-day basis. And when we do face tragedy, we got to make sure that, you know, we are prepared because honestly, when I see families and stories like this is so unfortunate. And the little boy would have been all right if the unlicensed driver had have not got behind the wheel. Wow. I mean, that could be anybody's family. This could be anybody. This could be anybody under the sound of my voice going through this. And for the longest, families would call me, especially when it was a hit and run, because many times their loved ones were in the hospital and then they had to foot the bill. We got the GoFundMe for this family in the chat. the 12-year-old that's recovering after being hit by an unlicensed driver. If you want to join the chat, give a few bucks. Hey, anything, it all counts. $1 or $2, it all counts. And we appreciate it. I'm gonna try to reach out to this family and see if I can, get permission to help them with whatever they're doing. And I'll probably, just try to share the GoFundMe on my social media pages when I get off the air. It's just one of those things where we have to work together, no matter who we are, where we live in this city. When we realize when something like this happens, it could be us. That's why I always tell people can laugh and say, oh, look at what's going on the north side. Look what's going on the south side. That's because you're a bot. You bot it out. You're taught to look at things, if it's not you and your family, without having great concern. But that got to change in 2026. Hey, they say we are one. Have a mother with 7 children. Now you got to be a dirty dog. You got to be a low down dirty dog to shoot up a woman in the kid's house. Well, let me get into this story. I want to talk about this mother who is thankful for her children. They have survived a devastating shootout. I guess somebody that shot her house up. Now she's on the news, afraid for her life. If you're watching this rebroadcast live, we got video of this story. Terrible story. Let's listen.
Gunshots upon gunshots.
This stuff is messing with my blood pressure. Y'all don't understand. I'm so upset.
Ada Sims says this is only a sliver of the footage captured on her home surveillance camera after the clock struck midnight on New Year's.
Started shooting. They hit the floor and everything. I'm like, go upstairs like I told y'all to do, hit the deck.
Sims says she then spent roughly 30 minutes taking cover with her 7 kids, and she's grateful they did.
It wasn't until yesterday my 8-year-old told my oldest daughter it was a hole in a window. I'm like, a hole in a window?
When she went to check it out, she discovered the back of her house was riddled with bullet holes. One even fired straight through her kitchen window.
Oh, wow. This is the back of the house, all the way to the front of the house. The shell is right there in the windowsill. Made it all the way clean through.
Milwaukee Police dispatch records listed a total of 71 shots fired calls within only 5 minutes of the new year.
The actual bullet that came through the window over there, that could have been anybody in this house. Me, my children, anybody.
Sims says this was too close of a call.
I'm really scared for me and my children's life. I want to move. They want to move. I don't have no means to move right now.
Fearful for her family's safety and uncertain of their future.
I mind my business, but this is my business.
All right, first of all, they said this happened around New Year's. And when people shoot the guns, and we just had a story out of Bayview where the families were riled up because somebody had shot up a couple houses celebrating New Year's. But this was after New Year's. They say that this happened in an alley. I may want to, in my mind, somebody trying to kill this woman. This looked like a direct. Somebody was aiming at that house. This seems like this has something more to do than New Year's. This is at least my opinion. Because one of the holes looked like somebody was shooting like a shotgun at the house. And there was multiple shots fired at this house from the back of the house, from the alley at the house. So they're saying it may be a New Year's thing, but it looked like this may be targeted. This looked like this may be something more sinister, against her, and maybe they were trying to, do something bad to her and her family. From what I'm seeing, I know people shoot up in the air, so if they was actually shooting in the air, the house wouldn't have been sprayed up like that. So to me, this looks like somebody attempted to take her life. If she'd have called me, I would have told her, I was like, hey, look, you need to get up out of there because somebody trying to kill you. This sounds like somebody is trying to take your life or end somebody's in your family's life, and you do really need to move from this house. I don't know what's going on out in the community. I don't know y'all like that. But that looked like an attempt to shoot up her house on purpose. That's somebody that dislikes her in that, whatever's going on in that house, to me. And I would advise her to leave immediately from that house. That's all I'm saying. So we starting out the year where, once again, we have 2 people that lost their lives. We have somebody on the run from a December 15th issue. Antonio Brown, if y'all know where Antonio Brown at, turn him in because it's a $25,000 reward. And you have a mother with 7 children. Now you got to be a dirty dog. You got to be a low-down, dirty dog to shoot up a woman in the kid's house. If y'all know any information on who did this, we got to start getting these folks off the street, because if you don't have any empathy for children and a mother, no matter what's going on, you need to be off the street. I'm going to keep an eye on this situation. Maybe I'll try to reach out to the mom and see if we can get her moved around. I usually don't reach out. I usually am by request. But I hope she don't think this was just a January 1st shooting. I hope this is not what she's trying to, or maybe the news had to broadcast it like that because they don't have any evidence of who did it. So they don't, as far as liability, they can say, okay, this is something that happened around January 1st, but they don't know who exactly did it, so it's a better story.
Unless there's something that they cut out of it, Tory, it sounds like she thought it was just an accidental shooting.
72, what they say, 72 shots? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? That sounds like that house got sprayed. Okay, I'm just saying. Andrew, have you ever seen a house sprayed up before?
I have once before.
Okay. Now, you got to aim at the house for that to happen.
I have been told that.
Okay. Yeah. All I'm saying is, if you aiming in the sky, you're not going to spray a house up all that many times. How many shots they say? 72?
Something like that.
Okay. That's not New Year's people shooting in the sky. That's somebody trying to take your life.
I'll tell you, more than the blood pressure needs to be up.
Yeah, she need to be extremely worried about who maybe, don't like her like that. Or somebody in the house. I don't know. But that's what, at me, as far as from what I've seen, that's what that looked like.
But this is back to the head on the swivel that we talk about all the time.
Keep your head on a swivel. Green don't always mean go and look both ways before you cross the streets. It's dangerous out here. And we starting off the year with these situations, with these different scenarios. And this is why I asked what was people's New Year's resolution that nobody called in, got all crickets. It was all crickets. They didn't know how to really answer the question because it's something that you have to do. When it comes to something that you have to do, I noticed for the last 5 years, when I asked the community something specifically that we could do, it's crickets on this phone. That's why I keep asking the question. I already know from being on the air 5 years what people not going to call for. And that's when they have to be accountable for helping their community. That's when it's crickets. But if it's a celebrity, if it's something that's outside of them, lines light up. I really don't care at this point. We just here to give out information and have powerful, great conversations with each other. And I know many times when it's something personally that we have to do, a lot of people get quiet because maybe they living in survival mode. And I'm not against you trying to make sure that everything you got going on is protected before you try to reach out and deal with the community in a certain way. And not everybody is living a life where they can do that. So I understand that. I understand that may be the case with some people. But as a whole, when it comes to repairing the village, it's going to take a sacrifice no matter what you're going through. I had to sacrifice. I didn't take one penny in 16 years helping this community. You don't think that was a sacrifice? I'm going to tell you it's going to be a sacrifice, and it's never going to be the right time. But it's never been a better time than right now. But when I see lies come to the forefront, and now all of a sudden the statistics start coming out Now they want to go over, oh, but crime is down. Look this way. Trash. Tory Lowe Show. I wanted to bring this up because we talked about this at the top of the hour with Minister Kevin. Milwaukee homicides rose in 2025, contrary to the national trend. Like, nationally, homicides dropped except for in Milwaukee. So that lets me believe that no real work actually, was being done. People was kind of floating around off of the subsiding of the homicide records that was going on. So I kept telling people, this ain't what it is. But now that the homicides is up 8%, they saying, okay, homicides is up, but crime is down. Like, they're going to try to find a way to twist it. But we got video of this situation, and I got some comments on this, but I want y'all to hear, because I said this a while ago, but some of y'all got to wait till the news tell y'all what to do. If you're watching as we broadcast live, we got video. Let's listen.
Chicago reported the number of homicides in 60 years. Baltimore saw the lowest in nearly 50. Nationally, homicides were down. The real-time crime index of Datalytics suggests murders in 2025 saw the largest one-year drop. That index includes numbers from 570 police agencies through October 2025, so it's not the full picture yet. But Milwaukee homicides were up about 8%.
I miss him hugging me. I miss his smile. I miss his smile. I miss his happiness.
142 homicides in Milwaukee 2025. 142 people killed.
That was my right hand man. That was my best friend.
There were 10 more homicides in 2025 than 2024, but still a drop from the city record of 2022. While Milwaukee homicides were up in 2025, MPD reports non-fatal shootings down 19%. Carjackings in Milwaukee were down 49%.
When you look at crime overall, things have come down. There's been a persistent issue around homicides this year, and it's terrible. It's unfortunate, because every life matters. Like, nobody's life deserves to be cut short.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson spoke with Fox 6 before the new year. He said the city will continue to focus on holding criminals accountable, and
we should also have preventative programs and opportunities out there so that folks don't do that in the first place. We should build strong families and build strong neighborhoods.
Throughout 2025, we heard from
victims. You can cut this, I don't want to hear all that extra. See, that's the PR. That's why when I cut that stuff, I don't want to hear the PR. If you go back to the earlier news articles on them talking about violence, they was bragging about the homicides. Now they can't brag on that. Oh, well, you know what? That's up, but crime is down and this is down. They're going to make it so that you stay delusional. And they thank God to all of my brothers and sisters on the front lines that know exactly what's going on, because we out here doing the real work and we see what's happening. Understand what I'm saying, Truth Nation. What I'm saying is, it's not personal. Just stop lying to the people. And I've been telling people, even when they came on the show, even when the mayor came on the show, I told him while he was on the show, I said, is it because the homicides are dropping because the record is so high that you can't keep hitting the record numbers? So he was like, well, we just talking about when they could play in that space. Oh, it's dropping. Now that it's up for real. Now it's real deal, up 8%, and everybody else is down. Chicago homicides are down. Baltimore homicides are down. Understand what I'm saying? So why are we up 8%? Then we hired a murderer to run the Office of Violence and Prevention. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. You put a murderer, a person who murdered somebody, in the seat, and this was last year. And now we're starting the year off with 8%, homicides up 8%. Okay. Y'all can believe whatever y'all want to believe. It's not personal. Just stop lying. That's it. I don't even have nothing. I don't have nothing against none of these people. It's not even a personal attack. It's just that when you have lives being lost and you're lying and taking the money and spending it on God knows what, misuse of funds, or putting the money where it's no production, it's no proof of results, then what are we supposed to say going into the new year? What are we supposed to do as a community when we're being lied to? All right, you know what? I'm going to keep it pushing. But I told y'all, for those that do listen to the show, y'all know I told y'all that the homicides wasn't right. That there's a lot more going on than what they talking about. And stop sending people this PR message that's scripted to make it sound delusional. That's on purpose, because how Chicago get the crime down, Baltimore got their crime down, even though they was hitting record numbers. When the smoke cleared, it was actually some real work being done over there. For real. This is trash. I offered the city a plan because I'm on the front lines. This is how we handle this. I get called to violence every day. They call me every day. I don't get paid. They call me to resolve issues. That's what I do. And when I tell somebody something, somebody always got something to say back. Every time I tell somebody something and I solve issues every day, people got the nerve to tell me something back, and they don't do nothing. Instead of sitting down, taking notes, and listening, they want to say something back to me. I stopped talking after that. I don't want to even talk to you no more. I just told you what to do. Why? Because I'm in these front rooms, on the front lines, dealing with it. And they won't even listen to me. Why? Because it's profitable. Chaos is profitable. They making so much money off of these broken families, these issues that they have enough money to resolve. If they resolve it, a lot of people going to be out of work. That's what I believe. I believe that they don't want to fix it because if they fixed it, they ain't going to get that grant money that's coming in. Then no more jobs for people. And I don't got nothing against Adam Procell. I talked to Adam Procell. I spoke to him. I told him how I felt about him. I told him how I felt about him. And he told me how he felt, and I told him how I felt. I talked to him last year. We met up. We talked. But at the same time, I told him I don't believe he qualified for the job. I told him that. But I said also, even though with that being said, you have the job, now if you need assistance and things to, that you need help with, I'll help. At the same time, because you already there, you already in the position, then let's work. That's what I was about. I don't care. It's nothing personal. But I know that when you put a person that have murdered some people in a situation like that, I got to raise an eyebrow. And everybody who knows a structure or understands the weight of what we're talking about in the city of Milwaukee when it comes to homicides, deaths, things like that, anybody would question that move. That because he wasn't even in the regular conversation when they had everybody to come out to meet them at North Division. He wasn't even in that. He just came from the side. So if you was gonna pick somebody from the side, you could have picked me. You could have said, Tory, come on. I know what you do. I know the community come to you for this. But no, they picked somebody that killed somebody and tried to prop him up. I'm always open to help. I never denied trying to help nobody in this community. Never. But when I see lies come to the forefront and now all of a sudden the statistics start coming out, now they want to go over, but crime is down. Look this way. Trash. And when you talk about a son that's watching his mom on OnlyFans he may not see her as a mom anymore. That's all I'm saying. That's dangerous.
Yeah. The conversation that we really about to get into right now, I feel like it should have been saved for a Friday, but Andrew kind of ran this by me. So I got 2 questions for you. You know what OnlyFans is, right?
Right.
Do you know anyone that has one?
I know a couple people that, when I was out in the community, they said they had one, but I never went and looked at it.
Okay. And so
I know a lot of people that call me for different situations. But
they trying to make content with you?
No. What I'm saying is I help a lot of people. So when I go check their social media, they have a link to their OnlyFans on it. Like when somebody hits you up and then you try to figure out what's going on, I'll always notice when the ones that have the OnlyFans in the bio.
Okay, all right. Well, Andrew ran this by me today, but there's a story of I don't want to call her a young woman, but she is a mother of a teenage son, and she recently stepped on a podcast to kind of describe her experience as an OnlyFans model and how it kind of created some complications in her life with her son. And so I'll let Andrew play the video, and we can get into it from there.
What's like a good month on OnlyFans?
Like I said, I had my one good run, and then I just stopped doing it because my son.
But like, what was the best one?
Oh, I made like maybe $5,000-$6,000 in like a month off of it. But that was my first month, and then what happened is I got a teenage son, and they're obsessed with me. They sing my songs in his school. They talk about like how hot of a mom I am. And my son's friends started finding my OnlyFans. So now it's hard for me to promote, and because now my son's going to school like getting teased. You know what I mean? So it's hard having a teenage son and being a hot mom. Like,
what does he say to you?
He hates it. He just can't never. He's like, Mom, I can never go to school. They're like, he like the way that I talk. They always singing your songs. They compare you to Ice Spice. He hates the fact that his friends are like in love with me. Like, literally, he can't bring his friends over because they're like trying to flirt with me and all.
Oh wow!
Now, what is your son?
That's got to be embarrassing. That you're in school. Your mom has an OnlyFans, and they didn't see your mom's everything.
Hey,
your friends didn't see your mom walk around naked on OnlyFans.
Now listen, I'm gonna keep it tall, right? We all went to high school in one day, right? We all had a friend that had a mom that was
hot,
recently divorced.
Somebody that was hot.
Yeah, she might have been, a little decent, looking for somebody. It's a completely different story.
Black don't crack.
At all. But it's crazy if I could pay $6.99 to see everything your mom was born with. So I don't know. I could never imagine
seeing the yams.
And more than that, the yams, the candy, the cat, everything.
Oh wow.
But when we talk about it again, when people need to really understand that a lot of the decisions that they make in life, whether it be out of necessity or their own personal desires, they have an instant effect on other people in their lives. And so I'm sure that she might have been down on her luck, looking to pay the bills.
I think society has accepted OnlyFans, though. Like, I think that when they had, like, Craigslist, they had that back page.
But it was,
everybody, they shut that down. They shut that down.
Right.
But to me, that was the start of OnlyFans.
You think so?
The Craigslist, when you go into the classifieds, and they had all that on there, the back page and the human trafficking going on with that. Like, I believe when they shut that down, it opened up the door for somebody to try to do it in a way where it was legal, like OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I think that society now that it's been celebritized, everybody's getting one. Stacey Dash.
Hey.
All right, so now it's not as frowned on, but the kids are still feeling the same effect from other children finding out that they have a mom that's on OnlyFans. And then we're talking basic, like they saw the mom walking around nude. She could actually be active on there, like,
of course,
having activities going on the OnlyFans. But yeah, she's showing up to parents teachers conference and around your friends and family. That could be psychologically damaging to a child.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just think that the pressure that kind of comes with it, and obviously, I'm not saying this to say that she's a bad mother, that she's bad to her son, or that this is kind of unfair, but this is something that you have to think about. Again, your digital footprint, no matter what you post, what you like, or what you retweet, people can see and interact and engage with anything that you have out there for people to, consume. And so, again, she's obviously living with it now, but she's going to have to live with the fact that one day her son was uncomfortable or, bullied or kind of persecuted at school because she decided to bear it all online for $5,000 a month. Is it really worth your dignity to make that much money in a certain time?
If the bills was getting paid, I guess she going to say, hey, that's how you think the rent getting paid.
Well, she kept them in some jazz,
They used to have to mess around with the slumlord to pay the rent. Now they could go on OnlyFans is. You know, all I'm saying is this world has changed. There's a lot of changes to this world.
Yeah.
And we have accepted things that 10, 15 years ago wouldn't have been accepted. So there has been a switch. And I saw this video, and somebody brought this up on social media, that this boy had a mother that looked, you know, fine.
Fine.
She was fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But the son said, "Oh, mama, you look so sexy." And somebody pointed that out, like, wait a minute.
That don't sound right.
That don't sound right.
Yeah, that don't sound right.
I mean, I've spoke to my grandmother, like I said, you beautiful and things like that. I love you. But I'm not looking at my mother or my grandmother or somebody in my family member like, oh, you sexy.
Never.
Like, that could be opening up the door for them to not have that bond, that normal mother-son bond, into where the son actually maybe, you know, attracted to his mom in the negative type of way.
Well, that's the crazy thing, though. The even crazier thing is that she would get on a platform and kind of talk about it, and she seems to be making light of it. For example, back in the day, I remember when I used to go to my friend's house, I'm excited to go see some dino nuggets. I'm not thinking about what his mom looked like when she out the robe or out the bonnet. And so, you know, it's kind of crazy. Again, she doesn't seem to have any kind of regrets or any kind of shame about it. And you know, it's just tough for the young man that obviously is dealing with that.
I see something more treacherous.
You think so?
Because during slavery, they used to make the son mate with his mom in these breeding camps. So in 2025, you got all of these options where people can see people's mothers in a certain type of way, and the child. It ain't like his friends didn't seen it. You know he didn't seen it.
Right.
So you got to be careful not to blur that line between I love you, mom, and I'm looking at you like, now what is that? What does that does to the psychological of the child looking at his mom and knowing that he watched her OnlyFans?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a very fine line.
Does he see her as a mother?
Yeah.
Or something else.
Yeah, it's a very fine line. And even still, too, is if I'm, you know, a parent that is, or my son hangs out with this kid, you know, I'm very reluctant to let him go hang out with them or go over to that house, because she seems to enjoy it or kind of get a rise out of it. She's not necessarily putting her foot down and kind of being like, hey, like, I'm a grown woman, you know, you're a young man. Like, obviously, this is my career choice. I've decided to do this for whether it's my own family's good or my own personal desires. But she's not mad enough about the fact that she's that easily accessible for her son's, you know, friends. And so it goes back to say it too. We've desensitized ourselves so much to sex and violence and all the other, you know, stuff that we see promoted on television and even on Instagram. Exactly. You can scroll on Instagram and Twitter. We talked about this many times before. And it's basically like anything that you want to see, you can see it, whether it's nudity or violence or anything super graphic. And so,
well, there's more stories coming out where people are dating their cousins now.
Oh, whoa.
But yeah, it is. I mean, but this is because they don't see them as a family member. And when you talk about a son that's watching his mom on OnlyFans, he may not see her as a mom anymore. That's all I'm saying. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole that we should really try to prevent.
Yeah, we definitely should. I mean, even, you know, in his head. And so I think somewhere, or there's a portion in the interview where it kind of goes, he's like back and forth with his friends about it, because his friends are making fun of him. But he's like, well, at least my mom is fine. Like, your mom, you know, she works a regular 9 to 5, which is crazy to shame somebody for having a job where they got to be decent. And
Here
actually,
we go.
You know, but I don't know. Protect yourself online. If you out there freaking in the sheets or, you know, freaking online, keep it away from the kids.